Welcome back, everybody. I am excited and very happy to announce that I have completed my first ever readathon, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I didn't get to do any of the video challenges or the Instagram challenges. I did do one, I think, but I am very excited to say that I managed to complete all of the reading challenges. I did them all. I was so excited. Along with completing all of the reading challenges, I took a total of how many pages I read, and I managed to read, and I can't believe I managed this, but I managed to read 2,222 pages for the BookTube-A-Thon. So without further ado, here is my BookTube-A-Thon wrap-up. The first reading challenge for the BookTube-A-Thon was to read a book with blue on the cover. And for that, I read Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick. Joy. There's a good chunk of the book that is actually illustration. The premise of this book follows two stories. It follows the young boy Ben and a young girl Rose. Ben's story is told in words, and Rose's story is told only in the illustrations, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. And I love the way the story progressed. I was able to follow the story of Rose even with the pictures. They're so beautifully done that I knew what was happening and what was going around her. And it was just a gorgeous book. I did give it a 5-star rating on Goodreads. I loved it. And I read it in one day. Challenge number 2 was to read a book by an author who shares the same last initial as your last name. And for this challenge, I read The Adventures of Robin Hood by Roger Lancelyn Green. This is a classic. This is the Puffins Children's Classic hardback edition. It was a fairly fast-paced read, and each chapter of the book is set up as a separate adventure of Robin Hood. Thus, the book is called The Adventures of Robin Hood. And it was a really nice book. It was a really sad ending. I honestly prefer the Disney version of the ending of Robin Hood to this ending. It was depressing. It was an excellent read. I gave it a 5-star rating on Goodreads. Challenge number 3 was to read somebody else's favorite book. For that, I read my younger sister's favorite book, Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. Now, I did mention in my BookTube-A-Thon TBR that I had seen the movie, and my sister hated the movie, and that it was one of those cases where you don't judge a book by its movie. Now that I've read the book, I must say the book is a far better story than the movie was, although I do enjoy the movie for its entertainment's sake, and the fact that Andy Serkis played Capricorn, and he does a pretty good villain. So, there was aspects of the movie that I did enjoy. However, the book, if you are a book lover and a lover of books, then you must read this book. If I am to become anybody when I am an old lady, I will become Aunt Eleanor, and I loved her. Even though she was quite crotchety at times, she was a very enjoyable character. The book did get a little slow at some parts, but there is a lot of action to keep you going. It was so good. It's about Maggie and her father Mo, and Mo's been keeping secrets from Maggie, though she doesn't know it, and he has never once in her life read out loud to her. And she's never really questioned why. She just went along with it, until one day Dustfinger, this mysterious juggler and fire eater, shows up at their house. And since Dustfinger's arrival at their house, things just spiral into this whole mystery about what happened to her mother, about this book Inkheart, and this strange, mysterious villain called Capricorn. And it is a fun, awesome adventure. I loved it. So I can see why my sister loved it so much, and I will definitely be picking up Inkspell and Ink Death. I gave Inkheart a 5-star rating on Goodreads. Challenge number 4 was to read the last book you acquired, The Princess and the Goblin by George MacDonald. For those of you who don't know, C.S. Lewis considered George MacDonald one of the men who inspired him to write his stories. And I loved The Princess and the Goblin. This book was so much fun. It is so cute. It's about young Princess Irene and just her little adventures and meeting her great mysterious grandmother, and also meeting the young miner boy Curdy. And Curdy is trying to uncover the mystery of what the goblins are doing, because he and the fellow miners can hear them working in the mines. He uncovers a lot of the little secrets, and he finds a way to protect Princess Irene from their dangerous plots. It is a classic children's tale, and if you are a Tolkien or a Lewis fan, I highly recommend you guys pick this up. of course, I gave it a 5-star rating on Goodreads. Challenge number 5 was to read a book without letting go of it. And for that, I read the graphic novel X-Men Volume 1 Primer. The reason I wanted to read this is because it featured Jubilee, and Jubilee was one of my favorite X-Men. It was only like the 3rd comic book I've ever read, and it was a really good story, and I was able to read it without having to know a lot of the background to all of these characters. There's a couple characters I had no idea who they were, but nonetheless I really enjoyed them and I liked the way they fit into the story. So I have ordered the rest of them through my library on an interlibrary loan, and I'm kind of excited to see when they get here. For X-Men Volume 1 Primer, I gave it a 4-star rating on Goodreads. Challenge number 6 wasn't much of a challenge for me, but it was read a book you really want to read. And for that, I read Revolutionary by Krista McGee. And I've mentioned her several times on my channel, but Krista McGee is probably one of my new favorite authors, and I absolutely love the Anomaly series. Revolutionary is the 3rd book in the Anomaly series and wraps up the entire thing absolutely perfectly. And it didn't give me this predictable ending. It was an ending I didn't see coming. It was awesome, and I'm not going to talk much more about it because of spoilers, but if you love books like The Hunger Games, you love dystopian, then please pick up the Anomaly series by Krista McGee. It was amazing. And of course, I've given all 3 books 5-star ratings on Goodreads. And of course, the 7th challenge was to read 7 books. So a book a day, basically. And my 7th book was Miss Marvel No Normal, Volume 1 of the new Miss Marvel series. And I loved it. A lot of people were raving about it, and I was a little skeptical at first, but after reading it, I gave it a solid 5-star rating on Goodreads. It was so much fun. It takes a character from a whole new ethnic and religious and cultural background, and she becomes a superhero. It's basically a normal teenage girl becoming a superhero, and how many of us did not dream of that when we were kids? It was like watching my own childhood fantasies come true. It was amazing. And the fact that she's from not your typical stereotypical superhero background, but she's from a different ethnicity, she's got a religious background, cultural background. It was awesome. I loved it. It was so good seeing characters like that and how she used being herself to adapting to being this new superhero type person. So yeah, definitely picking up the rest of the Miss Marvel series. I loved it, and I would highly recommend it. Like I said, solid 5-star rating on Goodreads. So that is my BookTube-A-Thon wrap up. I have been loving watching all of your guys' challenge videos when I come home from work. I've been watching the Twitter feeds and watching everybody cheer each other on. It's been awesome, guys. Thank you for making my first readathon super fun. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.